Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us for this hour. Everybody knows what time it is. It is time for art. Thank you guys so much for being with us today. It is Wednesday, so it's either a draw day or a paint day, depending on what day of the month it is. And today we're going to be drawing in our art journals. So make sure you guys have those out with writing utensils and stuff to draw. But Allison will go over the materials in just a little bit. Before we say hi to Allison, if everybody could please, if you remember to like, subscribe, share, hit the notification button on our Facebook, our YouTube, our Instagram, or our TikTok. We're going to be posting some really fun videos there, some tutorials coming up this month, some really fun content for you to kind of digest throughout the week. Whenever you have time, if you're feeling creative and you have some time for art, then you'll know exactly where to go to be inspired. So let's say hello to Allison, our artist. Hello, Allison.
Hello, Hershey. I'm excited to draw today. I'm good. It's it's my favorite thing. Just sitting in fun.
Super Bowl?
What's that? Do I have plans for the Super Bowl? I do.
Okay, I do. Good. All right.
Yes.
Good.
I'm hanging out with some of our subscribers, actually. Yeah.
Ooh, okay. Nice. You guys at home, if you have any really fun plans, if you might get to see Allison on Super Bowl Sunday, let us know in the comments. Love to know what you guys are up to. I wanted to shout out, I think we got on Instagram, did we get an unboxing video from Melinda?
We did, and it's so cute. Yes.
Yep. So thank you, Melinda, out there. For those of you guys who maybe don't know Melinda yet, so you could say hello to her in the comments. And also her handle on social media is Yarn Thread Love. So make sure you, if you want to say hi to her or compliment her on her video or check it out, that's where you can find it. So sorry.
Yes, and she's an incredible fiber artist and does all kinds of cool things with yarn and knitting and crochet, and she makes figures and hats, and it's worth a look-see. It's really cool.
I think so too. I think there's music to it and stuff. So not that it's setting the bar too high, but I mean, she really did a bang up job. So thank you so much, Melinda. Let's
chat
about what's today.
Okay, so today we are going to get our journals out and we are going to get our reference images out, and they look just like this. And we are going to paint these. Probably we're going to do this one next week, and we're going to paint this one the week after. If you'd like to take a crack at painting them, the links are there and they're live. So if you want to give it a try or go through it once before you do it with us, or, just because we paint these live on certain days doesn't mean you have to. We do some tips and tricks ahead of time, but you can paint them whenever you want, right when you get your box, and the link is right there. But we take on the first Wednesday of our subscription month a time to just sit and draw what's coming up, and it's a good way to just kind of work out what we're doing. And the more you draw, the more proficient painter you are. So that's where we're going to start. So I think I'm going to start with this one.
I'm really excited. I love these days, Allison, because like you were saying just before we got on the call, and everyone, this is really important too at home. Today, where we're just drawing these images in our book and they're not on the canvas yet and nothing's too serious. Today is all about having fun, making mistakes, erasing, trying something new, going different. So please, when you're out there, like let your imagination roar or roll. What is it? Soar, or
all those things. Roar, soar. Don't stop it from doing any of those things. And so we just have our sketchbooks out. I have a very sharp drawing pencil out and our two reference images. And look, I'm going to start with this guy. So what I'd like to do with this one is I'm turning my sketchbook horizontally, or landscape style, as we say in the computer generation. And I'm actually going to poke tiny little holes through the corners of my reference image.
Okay.
Just so that we get the exact same proportions in our sketchbooks. And it doesn't have to be perfect.
So wait, tell me.
I'm showing you just a sec. So, all right. I poked tiny little holes. I don't know if this one registered or not. In the corners of my reference image, and I made a little mark through them. So I have the same size and shape to practice drawing in
Okie dokie.
today. So this is roughly the right size.
Oh, so it could all be just like it's the same.
It's the same.
image.
Yeah, it's sort of the same size, same proportion. And you don't have to do that, but that's one of my tricks.
Yeah,
to get
that's
started.
cool.
And
I like that.
so yeah, and so when we did our owl and our moth, it was less important because it wasn't sort of, this is a botanical scene. This is a desert road scene, and where things began and ended happened on the picture plane. In this case, things go off the page. And so I want my proportions to be the same here as they are here. And so this isn't perfect, but it's roughly the same size. And we're gonna go from there.
All right, let's
I'm gonna go ahead, because I don't want this to move around too much on us. I'm gonna go ahead and secure my image just for presentation's sake, so I don't push this off page. And the first thing I'm going to do is just kind of decide sort of where some things are. So I'm going to kind of start on this side, and I see this shape that's kind of right here. And I'm going to say this all sort of exists in the right third of the picture plane. Do you see what I'm talking about, Hershey? Yes. So up and around here is all in the first or the left third of the picture plane. So I'm going to go ahead and divide my space kind of into thirds. And again, this isn't exact.
Eyeballing it. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And I'm not going to put the marks in, but sort of this is the left third. And so this shape kind of comes around like this, up over here. There's a bud kind of over here. And that's kind of where that shape lives.
Okay. You know, I really love the way that you are showing us how to dissect a photo into its components or a picture, so it makes it way easier to draw. So drawing is 95% about figuring out what you're looking at. Yeah, right.
And then I'd say it's 4% hand skills. And then and then 1% comparing the two back and forth and making adjustments. So
right.
It's all the above there. Okay, so then I like that. I'm gonna go ahead and put this sort of kind of ear shape in as well. And that kind of comes around this way. And I'm pressing really hard so you can see it. I naturally would not press that hard.
All righty. I know that the people at home love to be able to see what you're doing.
Yes, that is something to do with that. And I'm kind of filling in some of these shorter marks here. And that's sort of this region of the picture plane, right?
Yep.
So now we're gonna go over here, and I'm gonna kind of push off this side, right? And so all of this over here exists in this third and doesn't probably go all the way over to the third mark, right? So this area right here, I'm not going to worry about the flower just yet. Okay. This right here, all of this and into here really kind of exists, I'd say right around the quarter mark. So if we were to divide this into quarters, all of that sort of doesn't even make it necessarily over to the third mark. So starting probably like right around here, that is where this shape kind of comes into play.
This is so good.
All right. And then kind of straight up, if we go straight up with our pencil, all of this is even tighter to the side, right? Because there's a gap right here. If we're moving straight up from here,
right,
these are even further to the left, right? And so that's, I'm going to make just kind of a mark like this, right? And so it's not, if I do this, it's about the same. And this kind of comes around this way. And there's this kind of edge over here. Just like that. All right.
Great.
So we have this side with a certain degree of accuracy. We have this side with a certain degree of accuracy. We have this shape in the middle that sort of joins the two regions, right?
Yeah.
And that is, we're going to have, all right, we know our first blossom hits around here. And I'd say that overlaps the third region. So the flower is kind of going to probably be in this space right here. We're going to have these two buds that kind of come out of it. So I'm just kind of loosely putting in where I think they might go.
Okay.
Right around here. We have this flower that I feel like sort of intersects where that third mark would be. So that's going to kind of be right around here. And then we have a shape that's going to come in here and around here and up here and here. So that's roughly where this is. So I've just kind of got a couple shapes loosely placed. I already know this one's going to have to come over more like over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the buds are kind of over here more. All right. So that's where those go. Now I'm going to draw with more definition, actually, what's in behind them, because I like to, with exception, but for the most part, work background to foreground. So what's going on in the background, I like to get first, because when we see something, it is layered coming at us. And so that's the easiest way to put things into space, for me at least. So I'm going to go ahead and make a mark. I'm going to do this shape right here, and I'm going to start this. And I know it kind of goes through here, around here, back down like that. This comes over and around like this. This guy kind of swings this way, up and around here. I'm going to put the one in the middle in last. Sometimes I like to sort of make the two sides of the sandwich and then fill it in. That's one of the ways I work. And so I'm going to start this shape right here, up and around this way. And I actually don't like where I put that. I'm going to start it closer now to over here. So up and around this way. Put this guy in the middle. And then there's a shape that starts right around here, comes back down, and the two buds are down here. Like that. So I'm going to darken these lines so everyone can see them.
Perfect.
All right, and now last but not least, let's put in our flowers. So this flower is going to go in right around here. And I'm actually going to start with sort of the center area.
Okay.
And I know I want that to sit right around here. And then the petals, this batch kind of right here, I'm going to put those in.
Are you drawing in the actual petals?
I'm drawing in this kind of grouping of petals, right? So this right around here is what I'm putting in right around here. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to put in sort of this cluster right here. So.
And are you going to, is that because we're going to paint them separately or sorry, what, like,
I'm just breaking down the flower into shapes.
Okay.
And we can paint these if you want. I was going to fill them in more with darks and lights, like a pencil drawing. But if anyone wants to, or you want to give it a try, go ahead and do it. And then there's this cluster right here I'm gonna put in. And then there's kind of a petal right here. A petal right here. One that kind of wraps around this way.
Yes.
So now I'm just gonna kind of fill some of these in. We got one that kind of comes around up in here, over here.
I feel like making a nice, a really a beautiful flower is a skill in its own. Like I bet, you know, like
there's a symmetry to it that you kind of work with. But I think if you break it down into kind of basic shapes and then sort of work from there, this comes around here. The center is lots of little sort of circle pod.
Yeah.
That's if there's a scientist on, I know that's not the word. Circle pod wasn't what we were going for, but that's what I'm going to call the center of this flower. All right, and then I'm going around this way.
Yes.
I'm just kind of defining the buds a little better. All right, and then I am going to put in this flower, and we don't see the center of this flower, but we do kind of get this edge of where the front petals start, and then there is a presumed center, and then the back.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to kind of redefine this shape, and it's kind of teacup shaped, like this.
Yep.
And the lighter you press, the easier it is on your eraser. So since I am making darker marks, everyone can see it. Don't do as I say, not as I do. And then this kind of comes around this way. And I'm just going to start kind of breaking up these petals around here. And then you've got one that kind of sets up this way. One that kind of sets up this way. One around here, one that's sort of here. And these are these beautiful cactus flowers that I think they are stunning. I think they're just showstoppers.
Yeah, they really
Do you
are.
see these in Arizona, Hershey? Like just around?
I'm pretty like I see this cactus around.
Okay.
But I've only been here since November, and so I think that's more of a spring or late flower. But I see those cactuses everywhere.
Very cool. Okay, so my drawing back here doesn't quite jive with this one, so I'm gonna kind of play around here a little bit more. This comes more like.
Well, what are you seeing that you don't? That doesn't.
Well, mine. I had it more like coming to a point, and there's a gap here that comes down. Oh, so I am redrawing this line to come around more like this, and then this bud fits in right here. And that's because you think you're doing, it looks good until you're actually not quite, and then you do it again. So not a big deal.
I'm gonna throw out to everybody to see if they have any. We could pause while everybody just make sure that your drawings you're matching what the reference image is. If you need to make some erasings and corrections, now's the time to do it. While Allison does hers, if anybody have any questions or comments you want to throw out, I'm ready for them.
Awesome. So I just tucked the bud in kind of right here, and this back one.
Oh, there's other. Yeah, I forgot there were the flowers.
And then there's kind of a bud that sort of comes off the page right here. So now is a good time because we've kind of got everything in.
Yeah.
And it looks about right. And things if you really want to be kind of, because, just kind of, this is a little tight here on mine, and it opens a little more.
Yeah, mine, I have the same issue. Mine's a little bit too far away.
Yeah. And you can make adjustments, or you can be like, you know what? Doesn't matter. I don't need that. This around here, this kind of comes more like this on the image. And then I didn't really have this line in here. And a good next thing to do is everywhere where you see the dark, I'm going to go ahead and just sort of fill that in.
Okay.
And then we can check our shapes again.
Filling it in.
And I'll give you some examples of where it might be important to change something and where it's like, you know what, mine's a little different, but
Okay, good.
big deal.
Yeah. Maybe you like it that it's a little bit different. Maybe you like your
Yeah, exactly. Now, if we were making a face and you wanted that face to really look like the person, that's one of those, and it's like, yeah, and you got to change it because you do.
Change it, yeah.
Because that's going to keep you from what you want. But there's plenty of instances where that's not the case.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, leave it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Time for another drawing. Time for.
That reminded me of there's an old Garfield alarm clock, and when it goes off, Garfield's voice goes, "Sleep in, stay in bed."
I don't want that. I want the Garfield that tells me to keep sleeping, as if I need that. Okay, so I'm gonna have one more pass at those, kind of cross hatching a little bit in this back. Cross hatching is like when you make marks this way. That's kind of hatching, and then cross hatching is when you come back.
All right.
And artists do that for a variety of reasons, and I do some of it. I don't do a lot of it, but I'm kind of cross hatching this background.
And that's where you do both. It's not where you switch. It's where you do both at once. Like,
so hatching, and I'm sure there's exceptions to this, is when you kind of make these lines that are sort of parallel to each other in one direction.
Okay.
Cross hatching is when you
make like X's.
And you can sort of layer up. You can kind of layer around something, but that's not really what we're doing. I'm just hatching or cross hatching in the background.
Because it's not this, like I'm like scribbling in.
Yeah, I kind of went sort of like a hatching mark direction in one direction, so I'm crossing over.
Okay,
make it dark. Right? Yeah. So okay, we got this in here, and now that this is dark and this is light, it's very easy to be like, okay, in the original, this shape is more sort of hourglass than mine. Do I want to change that? Yeah, I can change that. Do I have to? No, but it's an easy thing to change. And for the sake of drawing practice, which is what we're doing, I'm going to go ahead and change it to look a little bit more like that shape. Back and forth here. This flower is much bigger than this one, right? And this one's about the same size, but it's up a lot higher. I'm not going to move this flower or make this one any smaller. No big deal. We're here. It looks roughly the same. I'm not going to. This shape, barring that the flower is much bigger, is roughly the same kind of, space it takes up. This one, again, the flower is kind of in a weird place, but yeah, roughly the same. This one, and this is a little tighter than this is, if I wanted to change that. Maybe I'd come through here, make that dark again. This, it gets a little bit tighter here.
This is fun.
Comes around here. Yeah, this is a little wider. What would change? Maybe this comes kind of more to a point. So if I wanted that. But again, this is just, I'm only making these adjustments because we're practicing drawing. And this is what you do when you check your drawing for accuracy. And I've already made 2 examples of, I'm not going to move this flower and I'm not going to make this one any.
Yeah, right.
Actually, I kind of like one bigger and one smaller. These are very much sort of the same rough. I mean, this is a little bit bigger than that one, but I kind of like one being a little bit bigger for interest's sake.
Yeah. I think the way I did it, and then it's coming out perfect actually. Like, I don't mean to brag, but yeah, I make very
Yeah, and you aren't having these problems.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, there you go. Well, so I'm gonna go ahead and like now with a little bit more pressure, fill in this background. And the reason why is because the next tone I'm gonna fill in is this kind of medium tone. And I don't want those to get confused. So I'm just gonna kind of really sort of go to town.
Great. Get that dark.
Get it nice.
Press hard.
And dark. I had, and it was actually my high school art class. I had a really phenomenal high school art teacher. And she just had, I remember it was a worksheet. I actually think about it a lot. And she just had a worksheet of, there were two boxes next to each other. And one had like a loop in it. And you copied the loop in space in the box next to it. And it was just practicing accuracy, right? You were drawing something complicated. You were just drawing a loop, but you had to make the loop hit the box and have the same sort of line weight. And it was just a really good exercise. You went for it. Yeah, it was really cool. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is just with kind of a lighter, not as light as the background, but a lighter tone, I'm going to fill in the darker shapes.
Which are the darker green ones?
The darker green ones, yeah. And I'm probably not going to fill in the lighter green ones just because
you don't need to.
Well, this pencil, so this is a 2B pencil, and it's great for all the things that we're doing. There are darker and lighter artist pencils if you want to really hit some of those dark lines, but for our sake, where we're just practicing drawing, this more than suffices. But it's going to be difficult to get a whole lot darker with this pencil than I got in the background. And we don't want our drawing to start getting confusing because we're making everything the same kind of medium value.
Yep. That's easy to do too. I was joking about when I was drawing a portrait the other day, and it's hard to do a lighter skinned person because I would like my drawings, like I just get darker and darker and darker because I try to make things match, different shades and tones. So a little tip out there.
So you would benefit from some pencils that'll give you kind of a broader range. And at a certain point, we'll be able to sell those on our website. We'll be really excited about that. But in the meantime, this is what we got, and there's a lot we can learn from just this.
Yeah. I see what you mean too about the pencil, like they're gonna mix up the dark.
Yeah.
Like,
well, you only have, and there's a lot you can do with these medium tones, but you can't get a whole lot darker than this tone. And there are some pencils that are so hard that if you just apply minimal pressure, you get these really light tones, and there's just a lot of control there. So, and it's not, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it with our stuff. Okay, so that's the sort of darker areas here. And then we can put in the prickles, but I think we'll do that last. And I'm going to hit some of the really dark tones in our blossoms and our flowers. So it's kind of the middle tones in here. These kind of sort of cascade up.
Yep.
This one's kind of on the left side, kind of cascading up again. These are kind of up and around here. On our flowers, it's dark kind of underneath here, over here, up in here, over here, and around here. And then these were kind of high contrast, so I'm going to leave these alone. This one I'm just going to kind of put a tone into because that's more accurate. This it's not as high contrast as say this is, right? So this is very light and this is very dark. This is kind of a medium tone and dark. I'd say this whole blossom is kind of a medium tone.
Yeah, both the flowers, the bigger flowers have all
Yeah.
3 tones, right? They've got
Right. And then the darks are kind of around here.
and the greens even get a little bit greener underneath them for the shadows.
Yes, absolutely. So these are kind of the darks. And then a fun thing you can do when you kind of fill in like this is you can kind of, if you want to, this is called working reductively, kind of erase out some highlights.
Ooh, yeah. That is fun. I love adding highlights with an eraser instead of with white.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. So we're just kind of picking up some of these highlights in here. Some of the center, just like that. And I'm going to try and actually make it even darker in my background just because I'm kind of here with it.
Yeah. Might need to be able to like really outline with your pencil so it's at least super dark right next to the cactus.
Yeah, that's a good idea. All right, we're coming around here. And then if we want to kind of put in our pricklies, sometimes they're very organized and sometimes they aren't. So in this case, they're kind of all over the place. So and sometimes the edge is more defined.
I looked it up really quick and I thought I had suspected this, but I wasn't sure. The flower, the cactus that we're drawing this month is the nopal, and the flower is the prickly pear.
Very cool.
So if you've ever had a prickly pear margarita or something like that, this is what we're drawing this month.
That is so cool.
I should put a picture of it. I'll put a picture of it in the group chat.
So these are kind of more organized over here. Some pricklies up and around over here, kind of tighter on this one, this guy. And Hershey, what were they called? Because I'm going to go ahead and label this.
It's called the prickly pear.
The prickly pear.
And it's the cactus. No, that's the flower, and the cactus is called the nopal. Nopal.
So the nopal doesn't always flower a prickly pear?
I don't know about that, but I know that the cactus is called the nopal, and the fruit that it bears, I guess, is the
prickly pear.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's the NOPAL. Nopal.
Yeah.
LEYPRICKL.
That's right.
That's right.
Prickly pear.
Pear. All right. Hershey, do you have plans for the Super Bowl?
I'm actually going out to Los Angeles. So
really?
I'll be saying hello to Melissa Crary, who packs your boxes up for you guys and sends them out, and be chatting with getting to meet her new dog, Norman. So I'm very excited for that.
I haven't met him yet.
We're getting a boat. We're going to take a boat out onto the harbor on Saturday.
Oh, fun.
I'm very excited.
Yeah. Are you go Rams or go Bengals?
I'm a go Rams guy, 100%. I'm hashtag so LA, so I got to root for that team. And also I really think it's really cool when a team that's in the Super Bowl is playing in their hometown. Like,
that is very cool.
The energy, I think, must be electric. I'm hoping so, anyways.
Yeah, I love it. So I do. I own half of, with Melissa Crary, a vacation rental in Long Beach. So I'm kind of go Rams there. Yeah. But I went to college in Southern Ohio, where the Bengals
That's correct. Yeah. So
Uh,
are
it's
your
called-
allegiances torn here?
Ah, it's I feel connected to the game, which I don't think has ever been the case.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
That's funny.
and you know, it's its own. Yeah. After that, so
Yeah.
go Super Bowl. Okay, we're gonna start on this guy next, and I am going to set it up like I set it up before. So I'm just gonna kind of use this to get my markings.
Yeah. Hold on, let's see.
Yeah. After that.
Sorry.
That sounds like me.
It was you that I got kicked out of our live stream or our Facebook
Oh,
group.
yeah.
So I had to go back in it, and it's always a thing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so many screens.
Right?
Yeah. That's actually not true. So one of the year it was the Harbaughs, the coaches,
Yeah.
against each other, whatever that
I
was.
couldn't tell you what year that was.
One or what teams that was. One of them coached at Miami University. And so I was
Okay.
connected to that game
For those of
too.
you not from the Midwest, Miami University is indeed in Ohio. It's the
In
same
Oxford,
university I was
Ohio.
talking about.
And if that's confusing to you, Miami was a university when Florida belonged to Spain. So
Look at, yeah, that's definitely some school pride coming out. Like, don't tell me.
in case you think it's like, why would there be a Miami University? Yeah, because there wasn't a Miami, Florida. That's why. Yeah. And
Did you
Florida
switch
belonged to
languages?
Spain in 1809. So
Are you starting on the new drawing?
yeah, I just go ahead and set up our new drawing, and it's this desert road, and I really like these colors. I think that they're really cohesive. And this is one we talked last week about how we actually are going to make a green from the orange, the yellowy orange and blue, and that's how we made this green. And it's the same yellow orange that's in the rocks. And so it's a really cohesive color palette because we're working with the same tones and all the colors. And it really just sort of holds together. So this one might look really tricky, but I think it's actually at the drawing stage going to be a little bit easier than our cactus, our prickly pear nopal cactus that
I thought the cactus was super easy, so I'm excited.
Yeah, exactly. So I think this one might come together even easier. So I'm looking at this line right here, and I'm going to go ahead and call that the horizon line in this instance. And the reason why is because this is where the ground ends and where sort of the things that go beyond it do. Now, if we were actually trying to figure out where the horizon, where the sky meets the road, it's hard to tell, but the ground here ends and we just have some mountains that stand up past that in our way. So this is what I'm going to kind of establish as the horizon line. And if this is the halfway mark, roughly speaking, right? This is going to fall below that, right?
Yeah.
So, but not like a third or half, like it's just a little below it. So I think I'm going to put that right here. So I'm going to make, and that's where this whole thing lines up. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that across my picture plane. And then I'm going to say this sets up. So if this is the middle, this sets up kind of on the 1/3 mark again. And when you compose a painting, you always, or a photograph or something, you kind of want to be aware of your thirds. There's something called the rule of thirds that you don't have to live by, but it's something. So this kind of hits right on the thirds mark. So if our thirds are around here, this is kind of where I'm going to drop our winding road, right? And then I'm going to send this line kind of like that. And this line kind of like that. And this is already wrong. This goes more like that. All right. And that's part of what makes this fun.
Yes.
So this kind of does this and this. This is about right. All right. And if you look, there's kind of a side of the road And I think that's a simple thing to get in next. So the side of the road kind of starts here and goes around this way. And this one starts here and comes up and over this way. And I know this about myself. I always make things bigger than they should be. So I am constantly sort of checking that.
Yeah. I think I'm the same way.
Some people, it's actually like they keep shrinking what they do.
Yeah.
I think I did that at one point and I overcorrected, and I love to use all my space. Yeah. So there's
why not? I'm with
so
you.
more so kind of in the middle is actually kind of this line right here. Okay. Where this like the tops of these kind of purpley parts of the stone. So if we were to kind of put in our median line now across here.
Okay.
And these aren't perfectly straight lines.
Right.
That's kind of this cluster of rocks, right? So this one kind of starts, I'm drawing this rock right here, kind of goes up and around here.
Which one are you drawing real fast?
This one right here. Can you see that?
Gotcha. The background in rocks.
Yes. And that's this kind of, and the reason why is because I've decided that's right in the middle. So I know where to put that, right? Okay.
Right.
And then right where the road kind of ends is or right with this line where the road sort of comes to its curve, right here. This kind of corner kind of indicates, kind of tells us where to start this rock formation, okay? And so this kind of fits neatly. I like to sometimes let myself know where it's got to end, which is over here. So I have this space to kind of draw in this rock cluster. That goes right about there. And this kind of comes actually below this line. That breaks up that sort of median line. And then this kind of comes around this way. So that's roughly where that goes. And then if you see, there's this kind of yellowy shape around here, kind of comes around. So this area, we kind of know there's some indicators that tell us right where to drop this. So that's why I'm starting here. Right. And comes around sort of this way. This kind of comes over here. And we have some bushes.
And like the takeaway here is again, like it's like the deconstruction of a drawing to like find shapes that you identify.
What do we know? It's a little bit like if you were to start a puzzle, you start with the perimeter and the corners.
Yeah, right.
And you work your way out from there. That's kind of when you want to draw something really accurately. I'm putting in these bushes right now. That's a good way to go. So, okay, I put on the side of the road here, but actually the side of the road is not just this kind of, it starts really narrow and it comes around more like that. So I'm going to make that adjustment in my drawing. So it's going to come around more like this. And if you got that more accurate from the onset, then you had me beat. And that's how it's going to go. So don't worry about that. Okay.
Yeah.
So now we've really anchored, if you want to take a look, we've really anchored our drawing. We know where all of this is. We know where our road is. The next thing I'm going to do is decide how high up my rocks or rock mountains, or however that is exactly said, how high up that goes, right? And so if we were going to be kind of in our thirds here, so this is kind of 1, 2, 3, okay? It definitely breaks into the third sort of, oh, Marvin's tail turned the lamp off.
Oof.
So we've got this top third here, right? And that's so if I'm going to break this into so 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. All of this kind of happens in this kind of third quadrant around here. And it definitely, yeah. And if we have a middle line kind of right here, it kind of, this grouping kind of ends right in the middle. All right. And then this middle line here, this kind of ends. And then we have these sort of stair steps. So this comes down and this happens in the background. So in the foreground, it's kind of this orangey stair step that comes around this way. And in the background, more at this line that we put in back here, it's going to come around here. There's this little shape that shoots up back here, around here, and going into here. So I'm just going to kind of clean up the contours of this shape. So this
like a little more rockier, like jagged.
Rockier, and just so there's some kind of knobs that come out this way. This comes up more upright.
Yeah.
This kind of does a one of these, steps off this way. Sometimes it's easier to do than explain what you're doing.
Yeah, no, yeah.
This kind of comes at an angle out like this. This gets a little bit higher over here. Just like that. And really, we have kind of everything in.
Yeah,
This
you're
point.
right.
I'm going to start taking a look. Mine got too high, my rock formation, if you look. So this, if this is accurate and this looks accurate with the top, this comes over here and it doesn't go quite as high as I have it. So a trick is I'm just going to trace, or not trace, but sort of mimic the line that I did. And then I'm just going to kind of cut its head off. Just like that. And that's a lot closer to more accurate.
Right.
Mine got too high. And the only reason that's really important to me in this instance is because I really want to get these clouds in. And something I really want to emphasize and also be in a good example for is if you draw something wrong, it's just not a big deal to take it out. And especially when I was learning to draw, and still you think you want to kind of like work it or nudge it or kind of keep it. And when you know something's wrong, just eliminate it. Like, it's like, yeah, that was too high. I just made it smaller. And we're going to go from there. So there.
Yeah, like we said earlier, this is the time to make the mistakes.
Time to make mistakes, and drawing is all about giving something a try and taking your measurements and then reevaluating. And the more practice you get, the more you hit your shapes a little bit more accurately from the onset. But yeah, there's no getting it all right the first time. So don't worry too much about that. So the first bush I'm going to put in is right here, because I know where that goes, because it happens right here where the sort of side of the road meets this shape right here. And I'm going to drop in the bush. And it's got this kind of bush in front of it, just like that. So if you look, all the bushes after that, none of them are quite as low as that bush. See that? So if I take my pencil all the way across, all the rest of the bushes in this cluster are above it, right? So if I draw a line over here, this is hot lava below, right? So I'm just going to kind of sketch in the rest of these bushes, and they kind of go up the hill, and they don't have to be especially where things go, but I know I don't want them to go below this kind of barrier I've created for myself.
And is there any trick or just drawing kind of
I'm
blobs
just gonna
right
kind
now?
of sketch in these bushes, right? I don't think it, I know I want a cluster of bushes to fall sort of, I want it to kind of come up. I want them to be roughly where I see them. But, and I know I don't want them to go below that line. And then these are pretty easy to drop in too. Two are right along the edge. And then I've got two kind of hanging out in space. All right. I think the next thing, because you always want to draw what's most behind, or you want to work on what's most behind. And so we have this besides some of our striping and our values pretty well established down here. We're missing where the clouds fall, right? So, but we should know, and again, how accurate do clouds need to be? It depends on how accurate, but it's not quite as necessary maybe as like where your horizon line goes or something like that, right? So this cloud kind of starts right over here, kind of comes up and around here. Over the V sort of hits right at this mark and comes up like that. Comes around this way. And these clouds are kind of flat at the bottom. That's the atmosphere they're having. And if you look, I'm definitely too tight in here, so I'm going to change that.
That's a type of cloud too that like
that flattens out at the bottom.
Yeah.
Well, so that's, and then you can start drawing the negative space. So what does this blue shape look like, and how much does mine look like that? And it comes more around like this. Over here. This cloud starts almost right here. Down around this way. This kind of starts right up in here. And this just kind of sort of scallops down around here. This cloud's kind of up and over here. And we have our drawing for the most part. We have our clouds in, we have our mountains in. If you look at these, I think the big takeaway with the striping is that sort of the tops of the rocks are kind of the darkest areas that I'm going to put in next. This area is dark. This area is dark. These sort of tops are dark. And this is landscape drawing, and I actually don't do a lot of it, so it's good practice for me. I don't do a lot of landscapes.
Yeah.
And they're kind of forgiving in that why would you want to draw a rock exactly the same, right? They're different. They're organic. That's something. But at the same time, they've got sort of a this area is kind of dark around here. I'm going to drop in that dark. They've got there's a symmetry you want, or a balance you want to hit with your landscape, so they're properly anchored.
Realistic too.
Yeah, and so that's that. The sun, I think this would be morning because it kind of looks like a sunrise. So it's darkest on top and kind of gets lighter at the bottom. So I'm going to kind of hit some of that.
You're right. That is your sunrise. You're right.
My dad, Kevin Crary, can tell you what direction you're going in and what time of day it is based on the position of the sun.
That's smart guy. That's smart guy. That's a life. That's a life everyone should know.
And if you're driving into the sunset, obviously you are going west.
Yes,
But yeah, that's and road trips, things like that. That was some of our games. What time is it? What direction are we going? The bottoms
I
of
love
the
that.
bushes are dark. But I did okay, right? That would make it a sunrise or early in the morning.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Yeah. If it was a sunset and that was looking west, then it would just be a lot more red. The fact that it's so blue.
And
Right.
the sun would be, yeah, different colors. I'm just hitting some of the darks on the bottoms.
Like the rocks or the bottoms of the bushes?
Bottoms of the bushes, yeah. And then this area is obviously a little darker, so I'm going to sort of just kind of get in that this is a little bit darker. And we're getting lighter on the road as we get away from it. Some of the striping, I'm just going to kind of, because again, we don't really have the pencils to get the correct darks and lights here. So I'm going to kind of just sort of sketch in some of the striping.
Okay.
And so in Tucson, Hershey, is this kind of what a road looks like, or is it a little different?
Well, I mean, that's really similar. There's actually, I just really recently discovered a road. It's called Campbell Avenue that, like, when anybody comes out here to visit, I want to tell them, take them to that road because it's the quintessential drive through the desert. It's got these perfectly placed saguaro cacti and different other, it's just so beautiful with the big mountain in the back. It's like, it's as if like you're on a ride, you know? So yes, that's exactly what they look like.
All right. And I think I'm going to go ahead and call this one. I'm going to hit the dark tops of these.
I'm so excited. I'll be posting my work that I'm doing while Allison's teaching, and also Allison's work I'll post into the subscriber group as soon as we're finished. And I'll also, let me put the
I'm just establishing my borders one more time.
All right, perfect.
So this is, I'm just going to call this Desert Road. And desert has one S, desert has two, in case anyone needs to be reminded of that.
Yep, right.
Bar trivia in Chicago is really popular. I haven't done it in a long time with COVID and everything else, but there was a round called Desert or Dessert. I think there were even some crossover desserts that kind of reference like a prickly pear margarita or something like that. Like there was, but it was a cool concept.
I love the pencil drawing on this is actually really great too, because of the dark layer of the top of the rocks. It makes it, it adds a little contrast to makes it easier to color in the sky, you know?
Yeah. This is a very balanced painting in value as well as in color, and work kind of in sketch form. So I just kind of want to go through what we did here. We drew a sketch of these two images. We're going to also learn how to paint. The first one was the nopal cactus with prickly pear flowers. And we kind of got the background. We sort of figured out where everything falls, got our background in, put in roughly some of the values, dropped in some of the dark areas in our flowers, and put in our prickles.
Yeah.
And we spent 25 minutes on that. And then on this one, here's our desert road, same thing. Big shape, started with the horizon line, dropped in where some of these things go. Talked about some of the darks, the values, what's darker, what's lighter, and got in our landscape.
Very cool. I'm really impressed with mine. I can't wait to do these drawings or to paint them, on the canvas. So excited. Is that what we got for today, Allison?
That's what we got for today. I would say everybody keep working in their journals. You have your templates, you have your sketches, you can paint in these, you can anything that inspires you conceptually, what's like the desert. all of the above. Hershey, did you have a special code for our subscribers?
I did, yeah.
Did
Before we go, there's a couple things I wanted to remind everybody. One is on Monday, when we see you guys again, we're going to be drawing a cactus. So probably, is it one from the vellum? Or are we gonna do a different
no,
one
we're
now?
gonna draw one that's from a picture. We're gonna draw a cactus. We're gonna
Nice. So live drawing demo on Monday, so don't forget to come back to that. And then we have we want to say thank you guys for everybody who's been with us since the beginning and news. If you guys have anybody that you'd like to recommend, they've noticed your drawing skills have gotten better, or you want to share this with somebody and have them be part of Time for Art as well, we're going to put in the comments right now. I'm going to do it myself. Is a code for if they want to sign up, they'll get 20% off, and you can share it with as many people as you like to help us grow our community of artists. And yeah, and we can't wait to see you guys again until on Monday when we we'll do a live drawing demonstration.
We're gonna do a live drawing demonstration. This is the painting. We're gonna do that Wednesday. And I'm gonna do some journal entries in between then and show what I do. She's probably gonna do some painting in his journal and show how that goes. And we're excited to see you then.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, tweet, whatever it
all
is
the
that
things.
you have. Yeah, we're everywhere. So we'll see you guys on TikTok.
All right. Take care.
Bye, Allison. Bye, everybody.
Bye.